What's up, I'm Troubleshoot. We're not quite yet out of the jungle. In this video, we'll be covering the brand new Rust skins this week, Thursday the 29th of May. Let's get into it. We'll start off by running through all these brand new items, checking out their price, then we'll have a look at them in game, and finally speculate about where the price will go in the future. This week, we've got 11 brand new items, starting off with the most expensive item this week, yet another Heatseeker weapon. This week, it's the Heatseeker Thompson for $3, followed closely by the Bamboo Cage for $2.50, a small box skin, Eyes of the Jungle LR $2.50, and Jungle Sword $2.50 as well. Behind this, for $2, we've got the CocoKnight BackPack, a jungle-themed backpack, the Black Alligator Kilt, helmet and vest, Twisted Metal Door, all or nothing large box, all for $1.99, so there's nothing cheaper than $2 this week. It's more in the medium to expensive side, but let's check these things out in game before we say anything too much about price. Starting off at the very top, the $2 per piece Black Alligator road sign armor, coffee can helmet combo are adding to the existing Black Alligator set, and as you can see, they're just as camouflaged and pulled out of the abyss as the rest of the skin. Pretty creative with the whole rope aesthetic. Haven't seen too much of that. Very 3D looking. Of course, nothing too crazy when it comes to camouflage. It's more of a dark alligator skin / metallic look that does fade away quite a bit in the darkness or in shadows, but it really is a solid looking dark metallic armor skin with some really fierce looking, I guess, like sort of demon teeth on the mandible of this coffee can helmet, all the way up to the, I'd hope this isn't an eye, it probably is an eye, yeah that's definitely an eye, all the way at the top of the coffee can helmet. More of a dragon skin kind of thing going on here, but I guess it's supposed to be the Black Alligator. Pretty spooky, definitely very well detailed, although of course in PvP you're not going to have too much time to enjoy how this thing looks. From there, throwing on the CocoKnight BackPack, this jungle-themed dark leathery / leafy wooden bamboo type backpack strewn together looks pretty cool. I really do like the accents with all of these bamboo pieces attached to the back. Not too sure their function besides maybe just making it a bit harder. Turning into the sunlight for a better look here, a nice brown backpack with some relatively good looking detail. Nothing too crazy going on here. It definitely suits the jungle vibe quite a bit. Not too bad. From there, we've got a couple of weapons, starting off with the only melee weapon, the $2.50 Jungle Sword, made out of, I guess, vines and things like that. Not too sure how this would actually hurt someone besides being a cat of nine tails or whatever that weapon is called. Maybe you could flail this around and smack some enemies or tickle them if you're of that kind. It's a very green looking unique skin that I don't think we've seen too much of before. If you're a fan of this rather unique, very see-through type texture with these purpley flowers, maybe you're into it. Personally though, it's nothing too crazy, and it's of course not that stealthy with these purple flowers pulling you out of whatever bush you're hiding in. From here we've only got shooty weapons left, and starting off at the very top, the Eyes of the Jungle LR for $2.50 features this Black Panther on it, and this, I guess, jungle camo type texture printed across the entire thing. Getting a closer look, this thing does look real mean, relatively well detailed. This camouflage would definitely fit in pretty much anywhere in the jungle or any green biome, and this Black Panther on the back is a really nice addition to break up everything in the area that you'll be seeing and not so much your enemies. For the most part, the skin is pretty well camouflaged, obviously sporting the actual camouflage texture on it. It'll blend in very well with any green environment and will obviously bring pain wherever it goes. Featuring a nice bright red iron sight at the back with a similar looking red iron sight at the very front. From the first person, nothing too crazy going on here. Very easy to see, but a pretty good looking iron sight overall. For reference, this is the default LR, a very similar iron sight. From here, the next weapon we're looking at is this over here. The Cock Saw for $2 is this very angry rooster with some equally angry messages scratched across the side. Super orange, super bright, definitely very creative, all the way down to this fire icon stuck in the front iron sight, detailed wraps with roosters on it at the very front, all the way across to the backside where we have, well, the name of this weapon is strewn on it, many scratches, you can see some bullets in the actual magazine here. This giant rooster sticker screaming in this very nice short form factor semi-automatic rifle, which if we have a look down the iron sight, you can see this weather vane on the back with this super clear red iron sight all the way at the very front. Again, if we compare this to the default SAR, you can see how it looks, much more easy to see what's going on, but nothing hiding a lot of the skin, which definitely couldn't be said about last week's Heatseeker MP5, as this week we've now got the Heatseeker Thompson to go along with it. If we inspect it once more, you can see the exact same neon cyberpunk type jungle with the same ramps going on at the very front. If you've been watching the previous few weeks or you've held one of the previous few Heatseeker weapons, well, this is pretty much exactly the same as all of those. Obviously, a really good looking skin to begin with. It works well on pretty much anything that it's stuck on, and this is the third item in the collection. I don't think there were many more, but I can definitely see this coming to a lot more weapon skins as this thing just looks so sick. If we have a look down the iron sights, this is what it looks like compared to the usual default iron sight of this. The only thing we're missing here are these two giant flaps on the side, which do occlude a bit of your vision, but it is nice to see them gone. However, it'll make vision during combat just a little bit easier, and obviously we need as many extras as we can take, so it's pretty cool to see that. Is this yet another pay-to-win skin and pay-to-win Heatseeker skin? Well, let me know down below. To finish it off, we've got building skins left, and for which we've only got 3 of them. So, starting off with the door this time, we've got the Twisted Metal door for $2, featuring this super nice metallic skull with very angry teeth across it, super shiny, definitely very reflective, and features the same design on both sides. If you like it, it's a pretty nice looking, scary door to add to your spooky door collection. Or on the artsy side, maybe building a Mad Max type of base, this thing would fit in pretty well with that. Stepping back from that, we've got this over here, this bamboo crate, or I guess cage. The name of the skin is the Bam Cage, available for $2.50, is a small box skin which gets rid of most of the box and you can see through it very easily. I can see places where you can place this to, I guess, maybe get some kind of an advantage. Bullets obviously can't travel through this thing, but if you place this on a peak down or something like that, maybe it can give you some kind of an advantage. But besides that, for its actual purpose, role-playing and things like that may find some use for this. Decoration of some kind of stand where you're selling things, I guess, or just a general addition to your jungle-themed base. The only unfortunate thing is obviously we can't see items inside of it in 3D, but we don't have all that many see-through skins, much like this one. Very unique thing that I don't think I've seen before in Rust. Something that I definitely have seen before is this week's large box. The All or Nothing box for $2, of course, is a gambler's favorite, the Bandit Camber Wheel landing on a 20. A sight to behold, this thing does look like it glows, which is actually true. It's the only glowing skin that we have this week, and it's definitely very well illuminated. If for some reason you're creating a base next to Bandit Camp where you're going to be storing all of your treasures, well, this is a box that might fit that pretty well. And with that, we've covered all of the skins this week, so let's hop over to SCMM and speculate about price so we can think about where things are going in the future for these skins by comparing them to similar skins, previous items and collections, and things like that. Obviously, this isn't financial advice by any means. If you're planning on buying Rust skins, do it for playing with them, not for the reason of selling them in the future, as you're probably not going to make money anyways. Do your own research. This is purely just speculation based off of existing items that may or may not be related in any way. So let's get into it. Flicking back over to SCMM, let's start off with the Black Alligator kit, as we've seen quite a few entries here before. This week we've got the road sign helmet, kilt, and vest, for which we've seen the road sign chest plate and helmet before, with these slightly different looking, but I guess technically related gloves in the past. These being the odd outlier where they don't really fit too well with the overall theme. The metal face mask and chest plate have lost a quarter of their value since they were released, and based off of that alone, these might be going in the same direction. Last week we saw more entries of the Deep Ruby road sign kit, so we've got even more road sign kit this week. These did see a rise in their price, and 2 weeks before that, we saw the Black Alligator kit come out here. Overall, I'm not too much of a fan, but based on other helmets, most of these recent ones seem to have gained quite a bit of value, especially the darker looking ones. You can say the same about the vests as well. The tire vest almost up 100%, same with the Legacy, Damascus and Cyber Armor, more of a metal type skin, but definitely on the darker side to say the least. The Commando vest being an outlier here. Finally, the kilt, again, most of these seem to have gained quite a bit of value, especially the darker ones like the Diamond, Commando, Damascus Cyber Kit, and the Tire Kilt over here. So things are looking good for these based on previous skins, although of course the chestplate and helmet didn't do too well, so is this going to break that? I'm not too sure. From here, something we've seen before as well is the all-or-nothing large box, for which we've only got the door to base this off of, and the garage door lost % of its value. If we have a look at other large boxes, these as well haven't been doing too well in recent times either. Pretty much every large box in recent times this year has lost value except for the Neon Bunny. 2024, again, most of these have lost a lot of their value. There are so many different large box skins that only a few unique ones really stand out. Sadly, things aren't looking too good. The Twisted Metal Door, we've previously seen a Twisted Metal Garage Door, and that, as well as the more unique looking Twisted Metal Furnace, have of course sadly lost most of their value as well. This one's probably going to head the same way, sadly. The Jungle Sword, again, very unique, nothing else in the collection. Pretty much all of these sword skins in recent times have lost value, the last profitable one being released 5 years ago in 2020. All of these look unique in their own separate ways with different bits missing. Sadly, this one's likely not going to break the 5-year streak. However, it is of course the first green one that we've seen in quite a while, if, well, actually ever. The purple flowers do sort of break it apart from the green bush, but as you can see in these screenshots, maybe not as much as you'd think. I guess it's probably the best camouflaged sword skin that we have, so take from that and draw your conclusions as you will. The Cock Saw does actually exist in a collection. Sadly, it's not mentioned here, but we've seen the Cock AK previously, this one over here, and this one unfortunately seemed to lose a bit of its price. The Cock AK, following a trend of AKs released before it, lost about 50% of its value, and sadly, this saw is likely heading the same way. If we have a look at other saws released, well, again, mostly just red pretty much across the board. The only things breaking it, of course, are the Heatseeker saw and the Popstar saw, which we saw in the last 2 weeks. I don't think this is going to do the same as these, especially considering we've got similar looking skins like the Serpent Bite, and of course we had the Cock AK released previously, which didn't do too well. From here, Eyes of the Jungle LR doesn't exist in a series of LRs, however, it's joining only 86 other LR skins. So we don't have hundreds of items to choose from, but we are getting there, and sadly, well, as you can see here, most of these LR skins have lost most of their value, except for a couple like the Redemption LR, and that's pretty much it. In recent times, all the way back down to, well, 2020, Blackout sort of kept its value. Yeah, things are not looking good here. I'm pretty sure we've seen a similar green, well, here you go, older LR skins, obviously too old to base accurate prices off of, but since those we haven't seen anything too camo-y greeny except for, well, all the way back in 2021 where we had, not even 2021, 2019, we had this stockless jungle fighter over here. We're getting taken back to the jungle. Is that enough to break the very long streak of unprofitable LRs? Well, maybe, but I don't know. The final weapon this week, the Heatseeker Thompson, is of course joining a couple of other Heatseeker weapons, and these ones have all gained quite a bit of value. The Heatseeker MP5 I think would have gained more if it didn't sell so many, as the first skin we saw, the AK, has somewhere around, if not above, 19,000 unique owners. The SAW released the next week had 38 to 39,000 unique owners to the Heatseeker MP5, which sold over 65,000 times. That's actually an insane number. Obviously, probably the most pay-to-win skin, hands down, that we've seen in the game this far. This one isn't exactly too pay-to-win, but it is again getting rid of some bits of the gun that do occlude a bit of your vision. Basic supply and demand, the first two skins, relatively unique, have gained a bit of their value. The MP5 sold a heckload. As for whether the price will go up a lot in the future, maybe it is a seriously pay-to-win skin. This one is a little bit different, though maybe at least a little bit pay-to-win, as long as it doesn't sell too many times this week, for which it is, well, the most popular item this week with over 3,500 purchases within a couple of hours. Things are looking pretty good for it. From there, the last few items, the Bamboo Cage, sold over 2,700 times, is a very unique looking small box skin, completely different from pretty much all of these small box skins that we've seen for a while, except for the Ibani skin, which was a Twitch drop. Still scrolling down, yeah, there's nothing like it. Maybe the Cargo Heli, although of course this is very themed. Yeah, it's definitely one of the maybe 3, possibly 4 transparent skins that we've seen before, 2 of which are actually Twitch drops. So it is a very unique small box skin. Will it gain value? Maybe. Odds are probably better than most of the recent skins, as it is just such a unique unique looking skin. The CocoKnight BackPack, again, nothing similar to base it off of except for the 20 other backpack skins we have already. A handful of these are Twitch drops, but most of them in recent times have seemed to gain a little bit of value. Unfortunately though, overall they haven't kept their value too much, moving overall down in price. We haven't seen such dark brown backpacks before, except for maybe, I guess, a bit of the night backpack, which we saw before, or scrolling down to the desert nomad, again, part of the nomad kit slash that sort of theme. It is very different, so it's difficult to base conclusions off of such a small sample size, but if you go based off of that and the very nice jungle theme that it fits really well with, maybe it'll do pretty well, but again, it's very difficult to tell. But yeah, with that, we've covered all of the skins this week, so hopefully you found this video useful, if not interesting. Thank you all for watching. My name's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you again next week. Ciao.